and welcome back to our playthrough of Final Fantasy VII. We are continuing with our optional side quests series of videos here. This will hopefully be a much shorter video than the last one because we're coming up on the end here of the Wutai area side quest, and after this side quest we are going to move on with the plot and move forward with the story. What you'll see right now is me just getting Yuffie ready because we are about to engage in Yuffie's big time to shine. This is really the part of the game that completes her story arc, that tells us a lot more of her backstory, where she came from, what her significance is as a character in the Final Fantasy universe. It's very, very cool to have this side quest. I've mentioned in the last video, though, that this side quest is one of those that really does a number on you if you are not prepared for it. The best thing you can do before the Wutai area side quest is to level up and make sure that your characters are really strong, especially for the first half. The first half is notorious because it's very possible for you to get into a situation where you're trapped into a situation that you cannot beat. And if you have to reset your playthrough or go back to the way, or go back to an older save file, or even restart entirely, or maybe even quit the game, those are things that we like to avoid when we try to play video games, and this is one of those gotchas that sometimes will appear in video games. So very important to make sure that we manage our save files appropriately, at least for the first half when we don't have any materia and we don't want our materia to stay gone. The good news is that it's pretty easy to get the materia back if you know where to go, if you know what to do, and if your characters are in good enough shape when it comes time for you to go about the various things that are associated with that first half of the Wutai area side quest. I don't want to revisit most of that right now because I'm assuming that you would have seen that video before coming to this one, but of course if you haven't, please go back and watch. We go through in detail what we do in preparation to get Yuffie ready, to get all of our characters ready. We go through getting different enemy skills and things of the sort. So if you haven't had a chance to watch our entire playthrough up until this point, you probably should, because like everything else in the world, Final Fantasy VII is one of those games that grows on itself the more that you play it. I don't know if you can tell or not from my tone of voice or perhaps what's going on the screen, but this is another narration style video. I've pre-played this part and I'm going back and adding my voice later on to add descriptions and narratives to what's going on screen. The first thing we did there was to get all of Yuffie's materia in order. Again, I mentioned this is Yuffie's big time to shine. What's eventually going to happen here is she's going to have to go and do a series of things by herself, a series of battles completely isolated from the rest of the party. We want to make sure that she has everything that she needs to put her best foot forward and to come out ahead in all of his battles. Of course, it is always advisable for you to use all the save points that you can as often as necessary to make sure that you are secure and safe if anything bad should ever happen to any of your characters, or if anything bad should ever happen to any of your games. So what we're doing now is going into this pagoda, and we have to do a battle on each floor. Now each floor is a different type of battle with a different type of enemy, and you have to make sure that you are equipped appropriately. Now, interestingly, all of these battles, except for the last one, are enemies that we can fight out in the world at different parts of the game. But these are souped-up versions of them, leveled up, like strength increased versions of these creatures. So they're not to be taken lightly, and that's why we want to make sure that all of Yuffie's materia is set up and appropriate and good to go. We need to make sure that she is equipped with the appropriate items to make sure that she is that she's able to deflect all of the status ailments and things of the sort. Something very important to do is to make sure that Yuffie's health stays as large as it can throughout each of these battles. These enemies are all ones that can KO you with one hit if your health does fall below, I don't know, 500 or 600, 700 maybe. You want to make sure that you keep your HP up as high as possible. Now, throughout all these battles, I'm going to spam Beta because Beta is my favorite spell in the game. So we want to make sure that you use Beta or use Shrine, use Aqualung, whatever you need to do to effectively bring down these bad guys here. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we brought our first enemy crumbling to defeat. The first enemy is actually kind of a difficult enemy. That wasn't an easy fight, but it's a fight that almost anybody can brute force their way through. There's no real strategy involved. I think our next battle is going to be a little bit tougher. This is just a little girl. What kind of threat could she possibly be? I have a feeling we're about to find out. And this is our battle against Chekhov, a cute little penguin guy. Now, ordinarily this is a pretty tough fight, except the developers of the game, for whatever reason, seem to have added a significant weakness to Chekhov's character here. The first thing we do is cast Big Guard, just to make sure that nothing can happen to us that we can't handle. And then we grab level 4 Suicide, which... I don't know why the developers would give you access to level 4 Suicide and then have this boss battle be a multiple of 4. So we did a whole lot of damage there using level 4 Suicide. One more attack should be all that we need to take down this bad guy and to come out victorious in this battle. So, as expected, ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't too hard a fight by any means to take down Chekhov. Using that little level 4 suicide trick is a fantastic tool to add to your arsenal. I'll do my best to point out any important enemies that are multiples of level 4 moving forward, but I don't think there are any more in the pagoda here. So you do kind of have to be careful which options you choose here. It wasn't really clear which one of those would lead to the battle that we were trying to have, but I suppose it's a good thing to have the option to walk away, which, by the way, even if you do lose one of these battles, you don't actually get a game over. It doesn't really count as a loss, per se. Now, it does kind of hurt your feelings. You feel like less of a player if you lose in the pagoda, but it's quite alright. I guess this is a special set of battles here. If you do lose these fights for whatever reason, you do not get KO'd, you do not get a game over, you don't get to the end, or you died, or anything crazy. So anyway, we were able to activate this battle now, which is another kind of enemy that we have seen before. The thing about this enemy that drives me nuts is that they have an ability known as stare down. You can't let them get away with using stare down on you because it will petrify you. That's the end of the match. They will stop you and just beat you down until you're no more, or they might even just end the fight outright. I don't know which. But you want to make sure that you have a ribbon equipped, or have some item that will that'll reduce the likelihood of you getting petrify or zombie status. So make sure you do that. I think you should have a gem ring, I think, at this point, which should defend against, gem ring should defend against stare down. But just like the other guys, it is always a good idea to go ahead and spam beta. Use beta as much as you can, because it'll make short work of all these enemies. Now, I think an interesting challenge run would be to make it through the game without using beta one time, because that would make the game significantly harder. But beta is such a great spell to use. I think you should use it because it's a great tool to have in your arsenal, you know? It's also a good idea to heal between each battle. It's very nice of the game to give us that option. Not only your HP, but MP as well. You don't want to run out of MP halfway through the tower. It's just not fun. So make sure you have plenty of ethers on you, or whatever you need to replenish your HP and your MP. No one has ever defeated the Master of Weaponry. So here we have one more enemy. I don't know when the last time we saw an enemy of this type or kind was, but I know it's one that you can see somewhere. This enemy, just like the second enemy, is a multiple of 4. Again, one of those things that the developers probably should not have done in this particular part of the game was to have 2 of these bosses be multiples of 4, so that a level 4 suicide mixed with a beta, or really level 4 suicide with any strong attack, should bring this enemy down without any trouble whatsoever. So with 4 of the 5 warriors of the Wutai Pagoda taken down, it is time at last to arise to the very top of the tower and to take on our final boss. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, the final boss here at the Wutai Pagoda is not an easy boss by any means. He is a really challenging fight. Now, my guys happen to all be pretty well leveled. They're pretty strong. So, while this fight was not a one-hit kill for me, I struggled with it significantly less than most players. This is a tough fight. It could take multiple tries to take down Godo, depending upon how you have Yuffie equipped, what kind of magic you have associated with her, what kind of weaponry you have, what the accessories you have are, etc. That's all going to play into how well we perform, or how anyone performs against Godo. This is a tough fight. I'm going to show you how I approach the battle here, and I'm going to describe another way to take on this enemy as well, which is especially helpful if you are attacking him with lower levels. So this is Godo, and right away you're going to see that he is kind of unsettling to look at. He's kind of cocky. He's doing this kind of dance kind of thing. You'll see his head wiggle and it'll spin here in a little bit. He likes to dole out status effects, which are annoying to say the least. But that said, it's not an impossible fight by any means, and depending on which head is showing, will determine what the effects are, or what the attacks are that he'll be using. So we managed to cast Beta before we fell asleep, so she'll wake up, she'll cast Beta, and this should do, quite a bit of damage. Beta's a great thing to use. Now this is Trine. This is your last chance to get Trine, if you haven't gotten it yet. Trine is a really important enemy skill. It kind of completes our trifecta of fire, like fire, water, and lightning elementals for the enemy skills, which means that pretty much against any enemy we're going to have an effective attack for. Great idea to make sure that you have an enemy skill or both attached to Yuffie so that they will learn Trine at this point in the game. So you can see that right now we're actually doing significant physical damage to him. I think he has something to the effect of 9,000 to 10,000 HP, which is not an exorbitant amount by Final Fantasy VII standards. After all, there are Emerald and Ruby weapons that have something like 800,000 to a million HP or something crazy. So like 10,000 HP really isn't all that much to worry about. I think it's 10,000 HP or so. But if you're not doing enough physical damage to make short work of this opponent, or if you, for whatever reason, aren't able to use the strategies that I'm using in this fight effectively, then another option you have is to not actually attack his HP, but to attack his MP. And the way you do that is by using an enemy skill known as Magic Hammer. And wouldn't you know it, the developers put the creature that carries the enemy skill materia, or the enemy skill for Magic Hammer right outside of Wutai. So there are multiple ways that you can go about approaching this fight. You can do the way we're doing right now, which is to just inflict massive physical damage to him as often as you can, because I'm bullheaded and I just want to go in and make short work of this. But if you want to be a little more strategic about it, or if you are in lower levels, you can attack his MP. He only has 1,000 MP. For every Magic Hammer that you can successfully execute, his MP will go down by 100, and then your MP will increase by that same amount. So it's almost like the drain effect, but specifically for MP. It is a great idea to drain his MP as quickly as you can, because what will happen is when he has no MP, he won't die, but he'll be reduced to only one attack, which is that Beast Sword, which doesn't do very much damage, to be quite honest with you. So while he's doing minuscule physical damage, you could be wailing away with Beta, or with Trine, or with Aqualung, or really any attack that does a lot of damage. So another strategy is to just attack his MP. You can attack his HP. Really do whatever you need to do to make sure that Yuffie survives this match. If you do win, as I just showed you, you will receive an item known as the All Creation. The All Creation is the item that unlocks Yuffie's level 4 limit break. Unfortunately, I don't use Yuffie very much, so I'll do my best to show it off on camera at some point. However, I really doubt that I'll be able to do so, at least in this playthrough. The main spoil of war here is not the All Creation, but it is the Leviathan Materia, which is a water-based summon materia. Very powerful, very cool, and very important. We're going to use it quite often, and I will show you what it looks like in action here very soon. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we are walking away from the pagoda here in the village of Wutai, victorious. Of course, I came over here to the little bell tower just to see what it was like. We went into the underground cavern, and that pops us out right over here back at Godot's house, where we can have a free rest. Now, thinking about the layout of the village of Wutai, I don't know how on earth that underground passage pops out at Godot's house, but I guess it somehow does, ladies and gentlemen. So, anyway, if we've made it this far, we have made it through the Wutai area subquest. If you've done this so far and you've managed to beat this particular subquest, then you probably you could consider yourself very fortunate, because you just crossed a huge milestone of video gaming. This is a notorious place. Through a lot of gamers have struggled with this moment, struggled going through this part of the game a lot. I think I'm kind of a cheater, so I don't really call myself part of an elitist when it comes to the gaming things, but I am like way over leveled at this point, which is why I was able to make it through the Wutai subquest here with such ease. But you don't have to be this highly leveled at all by any means whatsoever. So anyway, the first thing you're going to want to do after you have made it through the village of Wutai and you're ready to move forward with the plot is to definitely make sure that all of your enemy skills and all of your materias are back in order. And once everyone is fully equipped and ready to go, it is the best time to move forward with the story. There's nothing else for us to worry about doing quite yet. With that victory, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and sign off here on our final part of the Wutai side quest. Next time, we'll be moving forward with the plot, moving forward with the story, doing some awesome things, and finally doing things that we need to do to beat this game. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope that these recordings are coming out okay. I hope that they sound okay. I think they're taking up a little bit more time than even I would like, but I think it's because I'm brand new to this whole recording and narration thing. So let me know if my voice is okay down in the comments. If it's not, I'm sorry. I'm probably going to finish the playlist anyway, and you have to deal with it or quit watching. No way around it. Anyway, love you guys. Thanks so much for all that you do. Thanks so much for watching. Good luck. I'll see you next time. Peace.